Okay, so we are live now. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and welcome to a new live today. We're gonna be talking about Orange Harry, whatever he's called now. He looks like a Batman villain now. And why is he snubbing his grandmother in such a way? Why is he acting like this? Why is he going to the Netherlands and not going to the UK? If there is any reason about that, there's going to be exchange of ideas. I'm going to read your comments. I want to know, where are you writing from? I've seen some bodies from Germany, New Zealand. I've seen some from the Netherlands too, from Holland, Canada, New York. Hello. Alabama, New Mexico, Netherlands, Liverpool, Florida, Isle of Man, Johannesburg, Massachusetts, Idaho. This is great. I'm really glad that we're such a international group here. Switzerland, Scotland, Canada, Romania, Malta, Memphis, Italy, Wales. Well, this is great having all you here, having you in this small group. It is rather small group. Well, not that small. Yesterday we were like almost 4,000 bodies in here in the live. Was awesome. I was really excited yesterday, and yesterday was a very special live, and doing this annotations on the fly was a really new experience. I hope that we can repeat that soon with another topic. And in this case, I like to really talk about not only Harry and the Queen and if he's going or not going to decay, but about a question that I've been asked a couple times: at what to do when there's a narcissist in the family, and not only if there's if it's your partner, which will be a relationship with a narcissist. I've talked about that to some extension, but what happens if you have a daughter or a granddaughter or a son or a grandson that is it's a narcissist? It's not allowing you to see your grandsons or your granddaughters. It could be a very uncomfortable and very painful topic and a painful situation for you. So we're going to talk about a bit of it now. If you're new to my lives, well, this is mostly an exchange of ideas. I'm going to be starting with the general topic of Harry, the royal family. We're going to talk about this, and as other topics pop up, we can deviate a bit from the main topic and talk about this human behavior subjects that are really needed today, because we want to understand how all this works. How can we predict human behavior, or at least explain when the behavior of those around us doesn't make sense at all? So that's really important. As of now, if you want to support my channel, all you have to do is really easy. All you have to do is hit the like button. And if you don't want to miss any notifications for this lives, all you have to do is subscribe. You subscribe and hit the bell. Hitting the bell is that you will be notified by YouTube when I'm going live, so you won't miss it. And at the same time, it's important that you have your notifications in your mobile phone activated, because either way, you're not gonna get it even if you hit the bell. That is really important. Incredible. So many people: Washington, New York, Dublin, Ontario. Do you think? Well, let's see. Let's let's start here. The questions like this: do you think the Queen? I would like to know, what do you think? Do you think the Queen wants to see Harry and Meghan's children? You actually see that? As for me, I always said that it's a natural drive, impulse, desire for a grandmother to meet her great grandchildren. That is the correct word, I think. So it's no wonder that she might be wanting, looking forward to that, where Harry and Meghan going to the UK in some way. But that's important to understand. We have to take into account both sides of the story in this case. Not because I'm siding with Harry, or I understand him, or I want to justify Harry, because we have reached the point that this is not justifiable. He dressed in orange and made this silly, foolish promo for the Invictus Games that is going to be in the Netherlands, and that is going to be on. I understand on. It's going to be in April 16. Okay, like 4 days from April 16 to April 20, if I'm not wrong. But there was this memorial service for his grandfather, Prince Philip, on March 29. And he has decided not to go to the memorial service of his grandfather, but he is going to, I think it's The Hague, in the Netherlands, for the Invictus Games. And what is even more, this is important. I think this is the most important part of all this conflict, is that he announced, or his communication team announced, that he was not going to Prince Philip's memorial service, and just a couple hours later, a handful of hours later, this promo is published. It's like, according to the Mirror, the Queen didn't know. The Queen was notified 15 minutes before they shared publicly that he was not going to the UK. So it's not like he has direct communication with her. He is not like trying to warn her in advance, so she's aware of that. And that will be really hard to justify the fact that he is not going to the memorial service. Okay, maybe do not bring Meghan and the kids, but go on your own. Why are you still pushing about that? Why are you still claiming that there's a security problem? If we think about it, the gun laws in the United States are, let's say, a bit more permissive, so it makes it a bit. You have to mind your security, okay? Because so many people that is carrying guns, okay? That's normal. That's plain statistics, and both the Netherlands and the UK have similar gun laws. Please, if I'm wrong, if you think I'm wrong, just let me know on that. But I don't think you can carry guns freely in the Netherlands. So it wouldn't be much different going to the Netherlands or going to the UK in terms of security, I guess. And there's another big question that people have been asking on the internet, and they want answers. Who will be paying for Harry's security in the Netherlands? Who will be paying for Harry's security? It will be a private security paid only by himself? Will it be security paid by the organization itself? Will it be some kind of national security or public security? That is very important. I want to know. What do you think about that? About your comments, because this becomes even more and more weirder that he's blindsiding his grandmother again. Why do I say again? Because everybody knows that the topic of Megxit was a blindsiding, was talked up to the last minute. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. In the Netherlands, the possession of all firearms, ammunition, and other weapons is prohibited. It is also forbidden to use weapons. Are some exceptions, but in those cases you will need a weapons permit. It's pretty much like in the UK. Understand that in the UK it's a bit different. If you want a permit for a regular gun, than is for a shotgun. For a shotgun, it's a bit easier. I don't know if easier is the word, but it's really, shotguns are quite popular, especially for farmers. I understand. I could be wrong, of course, but please just in these topics, it's just what I have read in a couple sites. But let's be clear. Let's be honest. It's like he wants protection not only by because the UK is dangerous. I don't think the UK is dangerous. I think I've said it many times. Like any other country, there will be safe areas and not so safe areas, and especially if you are traveling and as a member of the royal family. Well, I don't remember if it was Buckingham. Yes, it was Buckingham Palace that said that, well, he was going to have all the pertinent security for him or for his family, the security that he will actually need. Well, is it possible that the Queen has asked them not to come? It could be possible. It could be possible. Not that the Queen would not like him or them, the whole family, to come, but for sure, the fact that Harry is not coming will be one less headache. Okay, at least they know there will be no drama. Okay, they can just focus on the memory of Philip, and there would not be the tension of Harry hanging out. There's no wonder we already treat Harry as a narcissist, as a mix between a grandiose narcissist and maybe a vulnerable narcissist. But I should do a video about that. But what he is actually doing, what he is doing is harming the family. I don't mean reputation, and I don't mean that the image of the royal family. I think that doesn't matter here. What we should be talking now is personal hurt feelings. Why would a man do something that he absolutely knows that would hurt his grandmother without letting her know in a lot of advance, at least thanks Megan Small. Megan Small is one of our moderators and a great fan, a great body language buddy, and she's always very helpful. You can follow her on Twitter too. Thanks, Megan Small. So it's really hard to understand or justify what will be the intentions behind what is Harry doing. Well, Meghan's fans defend him in the sense of, well, the Queen could approve that security. Well, the Queen has approved the private security that Buckingham Palace or Kensington Palace can offer. That is the normal security. But Harry is interested in getting that IPP status, that is international protected person. I think that it's international, the word. If he gets the status of international protected person, sorry if that isn't the right acronym, but that's the concept. If he gets the status of international protected person in the UK, it means that security, that international security, is reactivated automatically in all other countries that he visits. Or that's the meaning behind that. It shouldn't be that way. it should not work that way, because I think every country is sovereign in their rules. Okay, especially if the UK is being sovereign about their rules, if the RAVEC are the ones that decide if a person actually needs protection from police, then they decide that. I don't see how a person like Harry, that is not a working royal anymore, that doesn't carry royal engagements, will have that benefit in other countries. That is a part of law that is a bit, subject to interpretation. But of course, if you have, it's like a precedent. If you have a status in one country, it will be easier to get that status in another country. Okay? It's like when you have a record of visas or staying in some countries, it will be far easier to have visa or resident status in another country. In the end, it's about how every country has rules, how every country evaluates that. But he's trying to put his foot in the door again. And why? Because he has to go places. Okay, that's a given. I can guess that he needs to go places to create content for Netflix, and it's said that he has to do this kind of things really fast. He has to move fast to create this content before the contract runs out. And to create this content, he needs security, and security could be very, very expensive. He claims that in the US he has the right kind of security that is communicated with supposedly official sources that can, I don't know, triangulate information, so he is even way more secure. I don't know who does he think he is. There's so many people. If at least people were certain that he had money, but nobody is certain that he has money. The only thing that he is certain, that everyone is certain, is that he is part of the royal family. That could be a security concern, as in we kidnap Prince Harry, so we know that the royal family would pay a ransom for him. I don't know. It's a horrible scenario for anyone. I really would not like that for anyone in this world. But we have to think about, why is he using that argument that is a legal loophole to hurt his grandmother? Because in some way he is snubbing, or just not caring much about his grandfather's memory. Okay? But in all cases, Prince Philip is no longer here, so he could not be hurt in itself by Harry's action. But the Queen can be hurt by Harry. So that's when there's absolutely no logic. And you might be asking, some people, I always tell you that you should ask these kind of questions. And these questions could sound absurd at times. These questions could be difficult at times. We have to ask, is there a possibility that the Queen did something that hurt Harry so much that this is justified what he's doing? Okay? This is how family dynamics work. Okay? Do you think that the Queen could have done something to Harry, or did not do something that Harry needed, so Harry now feels compelled to act as he's acting? Okay? That is just a hypothetical question, and a question that we should always be asking. That is normal. Now, most of you, I understand. I understand. This is important too. Neil Sean, I love Neil Sean show, reported the Queen had sent out an invitation for Harry to attend. That is logical. The Queen would have wanted, would love to see Harry there. That is plain logical. That is logical. That's normal. That is plain normal behavior. Well, if it's for Netflix, why are not providing security for him? Because that must be out of the contract. Okay, it's like, well, we can arrange, I don't know, some logistics or some budget for logistics, but it Netflix is not producing whatever content they are producing. Netflix is not in charge of producing, creating the content. The content. The ones that are in charge of producing the content is Archwell Productions. Harry and Meghan themselves through their production company, the production branch of Archwell. You know, the second laptop in the table. That's it. You only need a second laptop over the table, and that's the production branch. So Netflix says, well, we have this. We can provide this cut of whatever profits we will get from your content that we suppose that everyone will like to see you because you're a royal, like a royal celebrity. But we are not producing, Netflix is not producing that. So Netflix is not in charge of the logistics of putting Harry in places, of maybe they can provide some crew, okay? But the production company who creates, who is in charge of everything is Archwell, okay? This is very important to understand. This is really, really important to make out of how this works. So, okay, I'm reading some of your comments. It's important. Okay, this is important too. No, the Queen would not have done anything apart from not letting them be in half in or half out. That's what has annoyed Methane and him. Yes, that's one of the things that they wanted to be, half in, half out royal, 50-50, and that was not going to work. I talk about that in another live, another video. I would have never worked, and they were really upset with that. I think that's part of their plan that did not work out. I think one of the reasons that could explain Harry in a negative way, of course, like he's doing this on purpose to hurt, is to apply pressure in some way. Okay, so they end up solving or creating something to arrange, but that's the part I don't get, because they already secure this security for him and his family on an eventual visit. So it will be okay for him to go, at least for him individually. Okay, and that will save the fact that he will just snub his grandmother. Now, that's when we begin to talk about narcissists. Narcissists do not act in a logical way. They're going to do all kind of, how can I say that, tactics. First, to gain your confidence. Well, Harry already had the confidence of everyone, the trust of everyone. He had the earned that trust because, well, he looked so far, at least until 2015, 2016, he looked very well. How to put that? He looked really happy, joyful. It seems like he was broken inside. He was suffering. Okay, that could happen. That is absolutely possible. There are many cases of celebrities that have been comedians, and in fact, inside they felt rather bad and broken, and that's important to consider. But he could have looked for help, and at the same time, after he met Meghan, it was like this change in his attitude. That's something that cannot be discarded. It's too much of a coincidence. That attitude from almost from one year to another, and everyone noticed that. And I think that was the biggest red flag that everyone noticed. It's like you are with a woman that you love, you should project happiness. You should be joyful. But at the same time, I don't like to talk about this kind of phenomena or coincidences, but because it looks like it was Meghan who infected Harry in some way, or is controlling Harry in some way. There is some factor of control, but I think that Harry is letting so much out, and he's not realizing, and he's gonna regret this deeply. I don't know, sooner or later, maybe later, but well, I don't know how to. Harry is extremely mad at William. Why? Harry is extremely mad at William just because William warned him to not go so fast with Meghan. Exactly like his childhood friend that we were looking yesterday in the live about the wedding of his childhood friend, the childhood friend that Tom Inskip, that told him, hey, you should take it slowly, okay? Give it a couple of years more, I don't know, with your relationship, because before getting engaged, you're going too fast. We don't know what happened in those first stages of the relationship, that it was like Harry just exploded in praise for Meghan. That's never normal. There's something that, especially from someone that was rather, how to say that, he was taught not to be so expressive with his emotions. Maybe that was one of the reasons that he didn't like. Maybe he wanted to be more spontaneous like this, and he has been for many years, for a couple decades, really spontaneous like this. But this is in the light of not. I mean, this image of Harry dressed in orange, making a fool of himself. That is alright if you are nice, if you're playing nice with your family, if you're not smearing your family, if you're not hurting your grandmother, if you are good with them, in good standing, then you can do whatever you want. And especially if the dates are not colliding with each other. This is very important, because the fact that he announced not going to Philip's memorial service hours before this was aired, that's too much of a coincidence. That is in really bad taste. And that is the kind of things that narcissists sometimes do to bring attention to themselves, something that they love, okay, any kind of attention, okay? What is the justification behind Harry's action? Well, I'm spontaneous. I'm dressed like orange, like as in the fans of football in the Netherlands, the Clockwork Orange, as it's called, the football team, national football team. The orange is the main color. I don't know if it's the main color, but it's a very representative color of football in the Netherlands. So that's the reason behind his dressing in all this orange. But the problem is the timing. You realize immediately that the timing is absolutely off, and it's not possible that if you have, you still have a family, but that's something that you cannot lose in itself. You still have a family. He still has his family in the UK. He knows that he's gonna hurt them. He knows that he's gonna make headlines in a very silly way, and he knows that his grandmother is going to be deeply hurt. This is the kind of actions that tells us that nobody can be, you either are or very evil or very, very stupid, okay, to do something like this. So you tell me, I ask you, what do you think? What do you think? Well, or he's, I don't know, he's making a paid promotion for Fanta or something. But you have to be so stupid or so evil, because I cannot imagine like a middle ground for that. And of course, there's this how do you say that? This template for thinking called Hanlon's razor that never attribute to evil or malice what could be attributed to stupidity. Well, this will have to be a lot of stupidity, or real stupidity, to not be evil. I don't know, what do you think? Stupidly evil. Yeah, that could be an easy answer. Yeah, because he's not earning anything with this. What's more, the Invictus Games. The problem with the Invictus Games is that he's trying to ride on the cloud of Invictus Games. That is a sports competition between disabled veterans, and it's based on a similar competition in the U.S. That was the Warrior, or is the Warrior Games. And many people claim that he just copied, or what is the right word for that? He copied, he plagiarized, or I don't think that is plagiarism, because there's no way to trademark a concept. You cannot trademark a concept as is. You can create your own competition of disabled veterans in your country, and you're not per se plagiarizing the concept of the Warrior Games. Okay, you replicate a concept and under another name. That's the most important part, and you're actually not copying. That was this inspiration. I think that we can give that to him. But what I don't like is the fact that he uses that image to just pop up and wash his own image, what he has done so far. And this, what he's doing now. Okay, that is great. It's great what this initiative is great that he's bringing awareness to this initiative, and that's one of the things that we have to deal with in life. Why the Invictus Games could be more recognized or could be more popular than the actual Warrior Games that were the original. How did that work? Why the Warrior Games that have been for longer time are not more popular than the Invictus Games? It's always a matter of marketing. And what better marketing than have a British Royal pushing it everywhere he goes? So the initial concept of Invictus Games, I think that's great. Okay, I don't think that is he's being inspired in something. Okay, he's replicating something in his country under another name, but you cannot trademark a concept, so it's not illegal, or it's not maybe not ethical, and maybe everyone knows that it was inspired on the Warrior Games, so maybe in an ethical way, but I don't know. I will give him a pass in that regard. But the problem is when you use those good intentions to wash your bad intentions. That's something that I don't approve. Nobody should approve that. Okay, this is important. Orange is the color of their national football team in the Netherlands. It's not political, it's not religious, just their national color. Thank you. Yeah, publicity rules everything in commerce. That's a given. You could have the first to market, the first product, the first service. You could be the pioneer in your market, in your industry. You have the breakout product, the breakout service. But if someone comes that has better marketing and has better publicity and has influencers that help spread the word, then their service, their product, even if it came afterwards, even if it's not as good as yours, it's going to be more popular and it's going to sell more. There's no way around that. Okay? Maybe, of course, if your product is better than theirs, then you have less problems than them in regards of well, the returning customers. Okay, but this is not a product. This is an event, and of course, the concept of a royal or a celebrity is that you bring awareness to something that should be given awareness. This is in fact the concept of why is so relevant the royal family in this regard, because the working royals, you can see it in William and Catherine, make sure to visit and engage and bring awareness to every single initiative that is worth the public knowing. Okay, it's worth that the public should know about that. So they bring awareness, so the public knows, the public gets engaged. Hey, thanks. Keep New York City mega trash free. Your channel is amazing. I like your videos a lot. I watch them every now and then. You make really good summaries. Thank you. And this is really important to understand that this is how it works in the royal family. You bring attention to a charity, to an initiative, because it's the right thing to do. And the Invictus Games, the concept of the Invictus Games is it's a really, really, I think, positive message for many people that think that, oh, because I'm disabled then I cannot do many things now, or I have a PTSD and I should look for help so I can do, even if I'm disabled and have PTSD for being a veteran, I should be able to do things because I see people overcoming these difficulties, so I can do it too. It's a great message. Okay, it was inspired by the Warrior Games, but it's a great concept. The problem is that it's writing in those good deeds, and it's a very delicate subject, because that's something that narcissists can do. They can be, whoever has had a relationship with a narcissist, they must have noticed something. The person is absolutely different from the door of the house in, and absolutely different from the house or the door out. Okay? People on the street, that person is amazing. He's so loyal, he's so perfect, he's so well-mannered, it's a great guy, everything, but it's something that is two people. It's something that they are really invested on having the right image with the world. Okay, this facade, they really invested on this facade for some way. That is the kind of things that I really don't understand from many actions of Meghan and Harry that have been just destroying that reputation for good. Like, let's go with lies. Let's go out with just burning bridges. That's why it's impossible to understand what is their end games. There's no way of doing that. Yeah, people that are thinking that this is Photoshop. This is not Photoshop. This is Harry dressed in orange. Harry has never matured past the age of 12. Well, that is there's also a difficult topic to assess. We cannot diagnose him, but it's really difficult at times to understand why are his motivations to do things. And when you begin to realize he acts pretty much like a teenager, like there's this outburst of energy at times, of being awkward at times, being feeling absolutely out of place sometimes. So it's really odd behavior, and well, it matches a teenager most of the time, and being grumpy for not reason most of the time. Like when he was walking out Westminster Abbey that last day of that last royal engagement and that Commonwealth Day on 2020, that Meghan was dressed in green. He has this face that absolutely like angry. Luckily he smiled a bit when he was outside with all the children that were attending. Yeah, I think he could be. He is. That could be a right word to say it. He is lost. Yeah, he's mainly lost. He needs to find a bearing, someone to tell him, hey, you have to try not to be so hard on yourself. And that's one of the things I tell everyone. We tend to be too hard on ourselves. We don't notice that. We fall into that mistake. That is a big mistake. I'm not saying that narcissists do that. Okay? I never think that it is possible for narcissists to try to control, okay, what they do. They can control it, but they cannot really cure. You cannot cure narcissism. Okay, I don't believe in a cure for narcissism. You can just control that if the person really wants it, and if the circumstances allow for it. This is another question that I get asked all the time, and this is very important, especially in relationships. They ask me, Jesus, is it possible? Can I reform, or can I change, or can my husband change? Can he be? I don't know. Can I fix him, or can he be fixed? Is someone can fix my narcissistic husband? And I always my answer is always the same. That is not your job. You cannot do that. You cannot think that you can do it, because it's a very unlikely possibility that that could happen, and they would not be fixed. They will only control that. So they will eventually, if they will eventually fall again in the same pattern. Okay? And that is sad. That is sad. I would like to tell you that there's a possibility with therapy and etc. But it's always really, really painful. It is not worth your energy. I always said that you have to be a bit egoistical on this and think about yourself first. Think about your children first, and that's really, 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 absolutely primordial, most important. Your children. Many women thinking that, or asking, and men too with narcissistic women, is that, can I fix them? It's too much energy. There's nothing guaranteed. Is there a possibility? That is the problem. That's why I cannot tell you that yes, it's a possibility, because we never know that the person has been really fixed. Okay? Because what you could see as fixed is in fact that they are just waiting to attack again, or it's just gonna be released that again, or that frustration that narcissists have is gonna be released at any point in time again. So that's the big problem. That's a really, real big problem. That's what the problem with that question. Okay, it's not worth it. It's not worth your energy, and most important of that, it's not worth your time. Now, for the question, when you ask, what if my daughter or my son is a narcissist and it's not returning my calls, or it's not allowing me to visit or to see my grandchildren? That is a really difficult situation, because your grandchildren legally depend on them. You cannot, well, it will be really hard to convince a judge that their parents or their mother or their father are not the right person to raise them. The narcissists will make it seem like you're crazy, that you're insane. Okay, this is really important. So that's a really difficult situation. That is a very, very sad situation, and even more sad when your son or your daughter gets into a relationship with a narcissist. The problem is that they could get enmeshed. I don't think if enmeshed is the right word. and mesh in a way that they don't see what they are falling into. And since you have more experience, you know that this is not leading the right way. You have some bad juju coming out of this person, but you just cannot point what is exactly that. And you try to tell your son or your daughter, and they tell you that you're paranoid, or that they're great persons, they love them. Well, you know, the love bombing of a narcissist. And the narcissist at the same time is going to make sure to separate your son or daughter from you. Like, look at what your mother is doing. She's wrong in this, she's wrong in that. Do you think that this is what's best for you? I'm the one who wants best for you. I know you better than your mother does, and etc. This is where communication is critical. It's always being critical, and sadly, it's never enough. Okay, this is like an infection. Okay, this is an infection that when anyone can get infected by a narcissist bite. Let's put it this way. Okay, nobody's safe. No, that's not gonna happen to me. I couldn't possibly fall for that. I'm too smart. I was raised by a healthy parents. I don't have any problem. But it can happen. Okay, it can happen. You can never underestimate that, because that's the way that they enter. They define what are your weaknesses, and they exploit them. This is interesting. This concept is spiritual infection. Yeah, there's a spiritual concept of that, because it's sad to see these people that are infected, that they lose not only they're jeopardized, not only their psyche but also their body. They begin to not take care of themselves. They begin to feel bad about themselves, whoever gets into a relationship with a narcissist. But there's also the fact of a spiritual way, because there's absolutely nothing spiritual in a narcissist. Even cult leaders based on this like spirituality or religions, there's nothing spiritual about that. It's just plain manipulation. They want to just deactivate the soul, your connection to your soul, if you can put it this way. But it's really a dangerous situation. It happens so gradually that you don't see it coming. This is very important. It's sad, but we need a healthy amount of paranoia. Okay, paranoia is not healthy at all, but it's not healthy either to fall into a relationship with a narcissist, or our sons or daughters fall into such a relationship. And the problem is that maybe we don't see it coming either with our sons and daughters. That could also be a possibility. And when that happens, who are we going to blame? We're going to blame ourselves. If I fall into a relationship, or my son or daughter falls into a relationship of that kind, you're going to blame yourself. Okay? You're going to blame yourself, how stupid you were, that what you did. You're going to put all the blame on yourself, and you're going to be really, really hard on yourself. And that's one of the things that plagues humanity today. And that's an exercise that what we have to do every day. I had to do that exercise a lot in 2018 and 2019. It was not being too hard on myself. So I encouraged you every day, at least every day or once a week, think about if you're being too hard on yourself. Okay, I'm not saying that you shouldn't work hard. That's another thing. That's another topic. We all have to work hard when we have a clearly defined goal that we want. Okay, that's important. But what we shouldn't do is to put too much blame or be too hard on ourselves for our failures. If we fell into a relationship with a toxic person, or someone that we really care about falls into a relationship with a toxic person, we really should be not too hard on ourselves. Try to assess the situation for what it is. And the most important thing is focus energy on how do we get out of this and how do we heal. In fact, getting out of that relationship, getting out is comparably easier than healing. Okay, because the healing process is gonna be more or less slow. Okay, and it's gonna be a lot of blaming, self-blaming on that, and it's gonna be a very vulnerable situation for the person. Okay, they can fall again into a similar relationship with another person like that. So that's very important to understand. And for anything else in our lives that we just screw up so many times, don't be too hard on yourself. Just get up, like get the dirt out of your knees and push on again. But try to not be so hard on yourself. Work hard, but not be so hard on yourself. I cannot tell you how important is this, and how many hours of therapy can this save you. Okay, because we tend to be too over analytical, over judgmental about ourselves, our actions, the effects of those actions. But most of the time, there's another concept that sometimes we make the right decisions, but with the ill timing, at the wrong time. Okay? This can happen, and this can be really hard to spot, really hard to define. We can absolutely miss that. We made the right decision, the sound decision, the best decision we could make, but it was the wrong time. Okay? What happens is the worst that can happen. That you think that you made the wrong decision. You cannot separate, you fail to separate both concepts, your decision and the timing of the decision, because there's always a part of risk and luck involved. Okay, like some kind of lottery. That's a part of luck and risk involved in everything. And maybe risk overtakes the odds, and it was a sound decision, but everything went wrong. Okay. So in that case, it's really important to backtrack and be sure, no, I made the right decision. Even it was a failure at the end, even if everything went wrong, I know I made the right decision and stand by your right decision. And sometimes what is going to happen, the exact opposite. You're going to make a decision that is plain stupid, that is plain wrong, okay? That you could have been more off in your life, but the timing was so perfect, was so nice, the wind was so in your favor that everything goes well. And what is going to happen? That you will think that you made a right decision, but the decision was absolutely wrong, and what helped you was the luck factor. Okay? I think we were talking about narcissists and relationships, but this concept is even more like nucleus, more. This is source of this, in which we blame ourselves sometimes, even when we made right decisions. We fail to realize they were the right decisions. I know that I told you that in our lives are going to be, the topics are going to branch out to other concepts. This is a very extremely important concept. I read about this concept in a book called The Psychology of Money. I failed to remember the name of the author, but that's the name of the I think it's that, The Psychology of Money. I think it's that of money mindset. I don't remember. I failed to remember the exact name of. It was a chapter talking about how our decisions are always influenced by luck and risk. Okay, let me see a bit of your. So we're talking about narcissists and how can they impact. So, if you have, let's see what happens. with Harry, if you have a son or a daughter that is a narcissist, okay, and for example, in this case, the queen has a grandson that is a narcissist and is married to a narcissist, and between them, they're hurting her and the family a lot. It's really important them to realize, to try to understand what did they do right and what was wrong. Okay, we cannot know that, only they can. That's important. That's the lesson that we have to try to take for ourselves. Okay, that is not our responsibility in many ways, because there's so much that happens in a person's life, and this is really important, especially for anyone that has children, no matter the age, no matter if your children are are older than Harry, they're still your children. I know that feeling, but it's like you need to understand that there's so many things that happen to a person's life when they face life itself, that maybe you can take a step back and try to take a look of what did this come from, because most narcissists, most of them are nurtured into what happened. Okay, maybe the situation of everyone is different. This is important to understand. But it's important to try to assess that, not just blame yourself. Hey, that was my failure. It was my kid. It was my son. It was my daughter. You need to assess the whole situation. Try to think about the whole situation. I don't know about your particular situation. I cannot possibly know about your particular situation. But I'm trying to give you the breadcrumbs so you can try to look for answers in the right places. And maybe they're not in the upbringing itself. Maybe you encourage them to look for their own happiness, to look for their own fulfillment, and they did not manage to be able to process the bumps on the road. And you couldn't possibly prevent all the bumps in the road of your children. Okay? That is impossible. You cannot do that. You cannot be looking for them, especially when they are adults. Okay? And at that moment, you realize that those bumps in the road are going to be processed emotionally by them with their own values and their own emotional tool set. There's no way around that. Okay? You cannot process, you cannot eat their food for them. Okay? So you cannot process the emotions for them. You cannot. You could try to explain what has happened to them. Maybe Charles could have sat down with Harry and explained to him about things, but it's really difficult in many ways, because sometimes this is another topic that is huge. Sometimes you try to give the tools, okay, for your child, in this case the emotional tools. But you give an emotional tool and it's like, okay, well, I have this tool in my hand. What do I do with that? Well, you know to use it when it comes to the moment. Well, that's a romantic way of thinking, like in the movies. And you give the tool, and somehow when the time comes, the person knows how to use the tool at the exact moment. But in real life, that doesn't happen. Okay? But in real life, usually you have to face the bump in the road. Okay? Face the problem, try to solve the problem, see that it doesn't work what you're doing, and then when you're presented with the tool, hey, here's the tool, you say, hey, now I understand, now I realize the value of the tool I've been given. Okay? That's another big problem in therapy. You cannot give a tool to someone, an emotional tool, and expect that they will know how to use it at the right moment, if they haven't faced the situation that you think they could face. So what we can do is, well, as parents, especially try to show how we process those moments, how do we process those problems. Hey, do not try to hide your problems from your children, and especially it's not like you're gonna get too emotional. You can get emotional, you can show emotions, but at the same time, the most important part is that you show them how you deal with those problems, and you try to figure out how to deal with those problems. Most probably will be emotional problems, or problems, external problems that affect you emotionally. You need them to see that you find a way out that. Okay? Okay, I see my mother, I see my father pulling himself by the shoelaces and trying to get out of this on their own. And that is way more important. That's way more important, so they can see, hey, whatever happens, I know that my mother, my father have gone through similar things. Maybe if I ask them, they can say what could they do in the case. And there's another problem too, that there will always be a generational wall. There is no way out. There's always be this generational gap, is the word, this generational gap in which the situation will be far different. Okay? For example, women now need to deal with the fact that they are afraid of who they meet on Tinder, for example, and their mothers and fathers did not have that problem. Okay? Even if the emotional basis of these troubles are similar because they're based on human behavior, the circumstances are totally different. So a child nowadays, or a young adult nowadays, might think that there's no way my parents can help me with that because they don't know about that. But and they will be right, because every person along every point of their lives, even if they are 100 years old, they're figuring things out. Every single one of us along every single years of our lives. Nobody is absolutely nirvana enlightened to the absolute heavens, to the absolute top. We are always figuring things out. Always. Okay? So it's more like we are in a team. Our family is a team. All of us are solving problems as we go. You're free to share your troubles so we can find a way out of that. That is my take. I don't know if you have a different take. I hope that this serves you in a way to, I don't know, figure out if you are living through this kind of situations, if there's a narcissist in your family, if you can pinpoint the source of that narcissism, or if you can somehow, because that's another problem. How do you know exactly that your daughter or your son is a narcissist? Okay, or they're just simply reacting to something in their environment that you haven't seen, you haven't experienced, or something that is actually your fault and you haven't corrected. That is important too. Okay? There's sometimes I always take things with a grain of salt when someone tells me my daughter is a narcissist or my son is a narcissist. I try to think that there's a possibility, there's always a possibility, and we have to think about this, that they are not the narcissist. You are the narcissist. It's possible. Okay? It's absolutely possible. And that's why it's so important a sincere introspection. Can narcissists do this? Can narcissists do an introspection and realize that they are narcissists? Yes, they can. The second step will be that they actually care about it. Because most narcissists, when they realize what they are, they will feel special. Oh, I'm a part of the 2%, 3%, 5% of the population. I'm special. Okay? I'm way more intelligent. That is a myth. Not every narcissist is more intelligent than all people. That is a myth. Yes, Dr. Ramani is great in that field. Recommend Dr. Ramani's YouTube. Dr. Ramani is an expert, is the expert in that field. She's got a really, really great YouTube channel. I strongly encourage you for all these topics. You go to her channel, you select videos, and you can search by keywords, brother, sisters, daughter, my daughter. She has covered that topic many times, so you can get even deeper insights there. Let me see. Thanks, Jenica. Came here for celebrity gossip. Instead, found one of the baddest, wisest, and smartest minds online today. I'm blushing now. I don't think I deserve that. Thank you very much. I'm really flattered by that. I do not think I deserve. I just connect the dots. I just try to connect the dots. I just try to make sense of my experiences and what I have read and experiences of other persons, how has it worked for them, and try to make it make sense of the building blocks of what would be the building blocks of emotional intelligence that could work in any situation. That is something that has bothered my mind for decades. How can we go to the basic building blocks of human behavior and emotional intelligence so we can teach that to children so they are prepared, like they have a hammer and tweezers and I don't know, a solder gun, and they can use that for many events. So it's like having duct tape. What would be the duct tape of emotional intelligence? Something that works for almost anything. Will be an analogy, of course, but what will be the duct tape for emotional intelligence? I always thought that the duct tape of emotional intelligence is values, is our own values. I'm sorry for saying that again, but I cannot say it too many times. It's our own values. It's really, really important to think about our own values. Write the book, Jesus. Yeah, there are not enough books on values. I should think about that. I have a perspective on values that could be valuable, so to speak, but I don't think, but I don't want to, I don't think that the topic, that's the problem with books today. That's the problem with books today. Many books, I'm not saying all books, but many books are really good, but many books today could be resumed in 10 pages. 10 pages and that's it. And in fact, I have a video on values and principles, and that's all you need to know. That's it. I don't need to write a book on that, or even not even 10 pages. Okay, that is important to understand. It's not complicated. The building blocks are not complicated to grasp. Think that you have to put in the work, the introspection to understand this, to apply them. You just look for my values and principles video. That will give you a lot of answers. If you have already do the exercise, remember that it's important to repeat the exercise at least once every 3 months, because our goals change, our perspective changes. Maybe we analyze our actions in the prior 3 months and realize that one value that we thought that was non-negotiable, it's lower in ranking, and we can present of that. And we are changing year after year, and especially decade after decade. We never will be the same person like 10 years ago. Okay, and that will be sad. I think we should strive to be really invested in that. Well, many people, thank you for your super stickers. Thank you for your super chats. If you want to support my channel, if you're enjoying this live, if you're getting something from this live, if you want to support my channel, you want to support my videos, you can send a super chat or a super sticker. Or if you're not familiar with them, you can also find a PayPal link on the description to send a donation to my channel. And I'll be really, really thankful for that. We'll be really glad for that, so we can keep creating videos, creating lives, and discussing these topics. I understand that sometimes we try to address this gossip, this royal gossip, in a way that, I don't know, that it should be funny. Yesterday's live was really, really fun. It was a lot of fun. But sometimes some topics cannot be that funny because they always branch into serious topics that could be really delicate for many people. This very delicate topic that someone in your family, you're related to a narcissist and you don't understand where that came from. And you want to know what did you do wrong and what can you do about it. Okay? People can change when trauma can help. Well, trauma can not only derail people, like affect people deeply, but at the same time, sometimes narcissists can come to their senses with a strong enough traumatic event, but only if they're affected personally. That's only way. And even so, I don't think they get to fix their state, but just to control it for some time, and that some time will be depending on the amount of the traumatic event that makes them realize, hey, I'm going to really derail my life in this way. It's very, very complicated topic because every narcissist is different too at the same time. This is interesting. I'm a child caretaker in preschools. I would like to share my experiences of that and maybe shed some light on your question. The question is about values. I think preschool will be. I think preschool is too early. I might be wrong. I must probably wrong, but I'm not that experienced with preschoolers. But I think preschoolers will be too early to talk about values. I think preschoolers will be ideal to talk about principles. Okay, for example, respect, being responsible, being disciplined. I think that is a great age to understand these concepts that are absolute for everyone. Principles, to have some, if we can say that, work ethic. If a preschooler can have work ethic, but I think the most important principle that we can teach a preschooler, even if I don't have much experience with preschoolers, is for them to understand that they should be responsible for the effects of their decisions. They make a decision, and that decision, of course, I'm talking in terms of an adult. I'm sorry if I'm talking in terms of an adult. I think everyone that's looking at me right now is an adult. I'm talking in adult terms, but the concept is the same. You make decisions. Okay, maybe you paint a house red or green. You have to make a decision between painting it red or green. You make a decision. The decision has an effect. The picture will have a red house or a green house, and you have to accept the outcome that your house is red or green. That's it. Maybe it's not something that is affecting you emotionally at that moment, or nothing that is related to friends or family or problems in life. Just a simple fact that you decide to paint a house in a certain color, and the painting will be, that is your decision, and you should stand by your decision. Okay, my house is red, and I'm proud that my house is red. I don't know. That must be a great idea because that is absolutely necessary. And I think that is something that Harry lacks. Being, well, how is that? Responsible? No, responsible is not the word. There's another word for that. Being, I really forgot that word. It's not responsible. Accountable. Being accountable for his decision. Make decision. Have you made your decision yet? Yes. Great. Now be accountable for the effects of your decisions. You are the cause. Okay? You decide that the house is gonna be red or green. You have to, you will notice, for example, in artistic expression in preschool, that's something that I know, that some children are gonna be insecure about which colors to use. Okay, might be insecure about which colors to use, and or might be insecure of something. They will be expect instructions about that. Okay, and the whatever you like could be color, or whatever you like would be shape, but they have to feel that they're building agency through their own lives. Their lives are something too big, but it could be even a drawing. You're gonna draw a house, paint it any color you like, but the color is gonna be your decision. Okay, and you're gonna be, it's gonna be a beautiful house just because you decided to paint it in any color you decided, because it was your decision. Okay, and that yes, this is the word. This is the word. Yeah, taking ownership. Thank you. I sometimes forget this really strong and on point expressions. Taking ownership. This is something that can be taught in preschool, and is even more important than values. Values will be growing naturally as we grow older and have more interactions, and we find what we like, what we don't like about our interactions with people. If we prefer to read a book or hang out with friends, or what certain kind of movies, maybe it's not the kind of movies that our friends like. We like to hang out with friends, but our friends watch a different kind of movies, and we have to understand, oh, okay, there's this exchange or sacrifice or negotiation we have to make. That is a bit older. I think that is when we are in middle school, or even in high school, and we begin to really grasp what are our values. And the other thing is, the big problem is that we really used to think that we have to follow the steps of everyone else. This is a too vast a topic for today, and we already have 1 hour and a quarter, and I don't want to extend this live that much. I wanted to really talk about family narcissists. I wanted to give you a couple tools for this, and yes, well, Harry is really hurting the feelings of his grandmother now. It would be really difficult for her to justify his actions, but I know that every grandmother in the end ends up forgiving everyone. With that age, you end up forgiving. There's no point on having risk or friction in the family. They don't see any point on that, because they live so much, okay, that I don't think she sees any point on that. But the topic is, if Harry's gonna regret this, and he is gonna regret this kind of actions sooner or later. I don't know when. I don't think we care about when, but it's important to use this to illustrate how sometimes people's behavior cannot be explained. Okay? And not because they cannot be explained, it means that you're going to blame yourself for other people's or your loved ones' behavior. This is really important. And that is something that narcissists in a relationship also do too. They try to make you feel guilty. It's a guilt trip, a constant guilt trip, that whatever happens, whatever bad happens in the house and relationship, everything is your fault. It's your fault not doing this. It's your fault not doing that. And you end up believing it, okay? Because you feel bad. And it's a vicious circle that you begin feeding with it. It's a vast topic. There's so many angles to this. And sadly, it starts as a meme. I shared a couple memes about Harry in my Twitter account, but in the end, it ends up being something, a sad topic, that we have to deal with this kind of toxic personalities, especially when they sell themselves so good at first. Okay? And we think that they are perfect and they love us and it's a great time with them, and we don't see those signals, and people around us begin to warn, don't you think that it will be, you should take things a bit slower? And we get angry. No, why? What should I? You just feel envy. You are jealous of this great partner I found or something. And this is the problem. This is the problem with human behavior. I would love to give you formulas to predict human behavior, especially on these cases. How can we identify narcissists before it's too late? And there's another video you can search. I think I have it in my Dealing with Narcissists playlist. You go to my YouTube channel, and the homepage of my YouTube channel, you will see 4 or 5 playlists, and one of them is how to deal with narcissists. I have 4 or 5 very on point videos, and one of them is how to spot them. Okay, it's usually checking it out. It's very general topics as usual. I recommend Dr. Ramani's YouTube channel too. She's more on point. She's got more specific videos for more specific topics on narcissism. But it's important to identify this and especially not blame ourselves. That's part of the poison of living around narcissism in general, in the workplace, sometimes in families, and sometimes in our relationships. And it's really, really, really critical that we value our time, our energy, and everything that is around us, that belongs to us, and it's part of the word that you shared with me a while ago. What is the word? I missed it again. Sorry, I really, ownership. Whatever is part of our ownership that we control, okay? Because we cannot control what the narcissist does, on how they affect their world. The moment that they begin to affect our world, that's something that we can control. Say, draw a line in the sand. Say, I'm not going to do this. This is against my values, and that's why values are so important. Well, yeah, this word is important too. Accountability. Yeah, this is Harry fooling around. Well, Harry's almost always fooling around. But yes, we got a live talking about Harry dressed in orange because he's promoting the Invictus Games that are going to be in The Hague in the Netherlands. So it's making reference of the color of the national football team. And so he's not going to Prince Philip's memorial service, but instead he will be going to the Netherlands. So people are saying that he's not, well, he's snubbing Prince Philip in some way, but Prince Philip is not here anymore. But the Queen is, and she will be really sad missing him. And this is a really low blow. When you think that Harry couldn't go any lower, well, he surprised us, and not in a good way. This is bad version of one of the Blues Brothers. Yeah, he needs more sideburns in all cases. But he'll be like a discount Dan Aykroyd. Was Dan Aykroyd one of the Blues Brothers? I don't know. One was John Belushi, and the other was Dan Aykroyd, right? Correct me. I sometimes say nonsense. But well, on that video, one of the guys sitting down clapping seems so bored, and his body language is asking the question, what is he doing? What do you think? Well, if you spot the video itself, if you zoom in the video itself, when that man is clapping, you see that he was the moment he was clapping was not this moment. It was any other moment. I think he was clapping on cue. It was something that is prepared. It was prepared. Okay, so it was not in. He was really not clapping at Harry dressed in orange. When you zoom in at Harry's picture in the laptop of the man clapping, you see that it was Harry in his normal, without the hat, without the sunglasses, and with his hoodie, his black hoodie, and he was like absolutely normal. The man was just, hey, clap so we can put it in the video and such and such. So editing, Hollywood magic, but in the end it looks silly, if not pathetic. That's the problem. It's a real problem. And yes, that is the same scenario that Megan used for her 40 by 40 initiative. That nothing happened about that. I'm not gonna mention it. Let me see if I can show the. Can I show this video? I don't know if I can show that video here. But if you go in Twitter for the Invictus Games, you look in Twitter and search for Invictus Games 2020. You will find that video immediately. So I'm really glad we could share this live today, approaching 1 hour and a half. I think that's good enough for today. I'm really glad that we had the time to share this live today. I will be doing my 9 videos soon again, but I've been enjoying this kind of interaction with you. You don't need Twitter. You can go to Google, to any web page, and search Twitter search, and you will go directly to Twitter search. And that Twitter search, without having any Twitter account, you can search the information on Twitter. You don't need a Twitter account to search on Twitter. Okay, just go to Google, and in Google you put Twitter search. You will go directly to the page of Twitter search, and there you search for Invictus Games 2022. Sorry. And you will find their account, and you will find the video. The first video of their account is Harry doing all these shenanigans, this orange shenanigans. So it's great to have these topics. As I told you, if this is your first live, we start with one topic of the Royals. We talk a bit about them. Maybe it branches to another topic. Maybe it branches, most probably it branches to something that we need to know or we need to remember. Or in this case, it was really interesting. How do we, or what can we teach preschoolers about values and principles? I think it should be the just assume responsibility, or not responsibility. Responsibility is an adult word. Is acknowledge the effects of their actions. You draw maybe you are worried that the greenhouse that your that one of your friends painted looks more pretty than yours, but the most important thing is that you decided to paint your house red. The fact that you did something because you decided it, and it's your red house, that is beautiful in itself. Okay, maybe the other is well end up nicer. Maybe the next house you paint will be green, just to test it. I think preschoolers have to think that their decisions, their own decisions, matter, because that is the way that we understand that we are not subject to whatever happens in the world. Okay, we need to have agency over what happens to us. And I think the preschool is a really nice point to start that. Hey, and art is great to start that, because it's something absolutely free, and you are absolutely free of boundaries of painting any way you like. Okay, that is important. Start with something that is not emotionally taxing. It's really important for that concept. So what happens is that as adults, if we don't build that feeling that we have control and our decisions matter, our outcomes matter in the effect we have in the world, then we will be constantly thinking that we are victims of whatever happens outside us. Okay? That's the concept of locus of control. When you have that, you put control in everything else what happens, and I don't know, politics of the government or your company or everything around you or society has the they are the culprits. They are responsible of whatever happens to you. No, you are the one who is responsible of whatever happens to you. But you have to feel that your decisions actually have impact in the world, that your decisions matter. I think that's a concept that very, very small children, in a very, very easy way, okay, just organize. For example, if they want to organize their toys in some way, it's not like they organize their toys and that's it. It's that they organize their toys, and you ask them why did they put it like this, because they thought that it was nice, and you reinforce the fact that they are doing something, that there was an effect, and that was part of their decision. Their decision had an impact on the world. They organized their toys, okay? But it's not only doing that, it's making them realize that. Just focus on that. Focus on what you did. You did it. You made a change. That's why, that's one of the reasons Jordan Peterson is always saying to young men that you should make your bed in the morning. Why should you make your bed in the morning? Always make your bed in the morning, because that's something that you can do. That's an effect that you can do in your environment. Make your bed. That's a very, very small anchor for people that have never thought about that, or people that feel lost, lost, well, in many ways. Harry is lost, but many people is really, really lost in really many ways, and especially because they don't think they have agency of whatever happens around them. So as you can see, Jordan Peterson tells people just to make their bed and clean their room. There is a bit beyond. Clean your room. There's something that takes a bit of planning, a bit of effort, but you're changing your environment. That's the first step. That's an anchor that creates a healthy anchor in your mind. I did this. I made the decision of changing this. My room. I cleaned it up. I organized my toys. I painted the house red. And those are the tiny building blocks to realize that we can control whatever happens to us. Yes, there are things that are out of our control, but we can deal how to process them. This is the most important part. It's part of Stoic philosophy, topic for another live, and I don't want to go much further now. If you haven't hit like yet, here's your last chance, because we're saying goodbye for now, for today. Yes, make your bed. Maybe Harry did not make his bed. What do you think? Yeah, I love this sentence. When you exercise control over the things you can, it makes a huge difference in our outlook daily. Yes, and important in the topic, you can. You should always start small. If you don't start small, you will get frustrated. Always start small. If you feel like you're overwhelmed by what's going around yourself, you're not alone. We have always been there. And once we get, just if you feel overwhelmed, what's happening in your life now, if you have always felt a bit overwhelmed, I have news for you. That's something that you can get out of the overwhelming part. You will always have to be on the lookout of what's going around you and be focused on what you can do and how you process everything that happens around you. Because the world is not going to stop being chaotic anytime soon. Chaos is going to be around us every time until our last day. That's it. So how we process that, it starts with agency, having ownership of the things, of the tiny things we can do. I'm really glad you were here, all of you. Hit like, all your super stickers, super chat. If you want to donate to keep the lights on, to support my channel, you can find a link to PayPal in the description to leave a donation. I will be really grateful for that. And I'm really grateful for you being here and sharing this space with me. I understand that you want to, that sometimes you want to have a bit of entertaining time, but I just need to talk about this topic. It's important. It's really critical because I don't know who might need to hear this today. For example, like Leslie, I so needed to hear this today. Yes, I know, because so many times that I needed someone to tell me, man, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Just put one foot in front of the other. It's like this. You've got this. I guarantee you, you've got this. That's a fact. You just have to trust your gut and trust in yourself. And if you've tried everything and nothing seems to work, just find one person and try to help that person. That's always gonna be doing giving that advice. I don't like to say giving advice. I don't like I really don't like that sentence. It seems like it sounds like I know and you don't, and that's not true. There's so many things I don't know. There's a million things, a million situations, a million I don't know, cause and effect that I don't know. I'm just talking about from experience of what I know that it's gonna work on every situation, and that could be that's something that I've thought about doing for some time. That is a book that I would like to write. How do we compile all the lessons that could be helpful in every situation? What are the building blocks of human behavior, of emotional intelligence that we can use, actually use, that be useful to apply in every situation? And I have 3 authors that for me are my complete, I almost have a shrine with them, are Isaac Asimov, Robert Greene, and Malcolm Gladwell. And especially Robert Greene, the way that he compiles all these lessons in a way that, well, this is the complete guide. For example, the Laws of Human Nature. Okay, it's a great book. I think it's a bit long, but, well, it's a Robert Greene book. Any book from Robert Greene that is not long is not a book from Robert Greene. If you're a Robert Greene fan, you know. And I think there should be a way to present these ideas in some way that they become easy to grasp at the moment that we listen to them. But I really want you to not worry too much. And I'm not saying this from an ivory tower or someone that knows it all or someone that has it all. As really, really, really little time ago, I was literally in the gutter. Okay, maybe I'll tell that story, but I don't like to talk much about myself. But maybe you feel like that. Maybe you feel this way, and it's so many ways to tell you that there's no point on worrying about that. It's inevitable. Something that you cannot do anything about it, worrying. But it's in the action that is gonna dissolve your worries. It's gonna get you out of whatever is happening. And I understand that maybe the hours of your day, all the minutes of your day are taken. Okay, that's understandable, and that's the situation of millions, hundreds of millions of people today have all the hours taken. There's no space to do anything else. But our minds are incredible machines. I witnessed people getting out of really tight situations because they found another way. And this might sound absurd, but when you have tried everything, maybe what you need is an absurd option. Okay? Maybe what you need is an absurd option. Consider the absurd. Okay? Maybe it's that. Or maybe, and this is just a bit too extreme, is what is this writer? I forgot his name. Metaphorical gun to the head moment. Then you're really hit the wall. There's absolutely nothing else to do, and there's only option A. There's no option B or C or anything. There's only option A, and there's no option left. Okay. I haven't met anyone that haven't been able to that haven't been able to get out of a gun to your head moment. When there's a gun to your head moment, when there's absolutely everything lost, I don't know how to tell you this. I hope you don't get to that point. But the human spirit, especially in this moment of humanity, can break through. It's something that is scary. It's really scary, but yes, it is possible. What you do not need is to reach that point. You need to look for that different or absurd solution or absurd option way before that happens. Okay, this is important. I'm sorry for being so abstract here, but I don't know which could be your problem or what could be your obstacle. I don't think giving my examples of my experience will be relevant to your experience. But what I can say is what usually happens when a human being is in deep trouble, okay, or deep worries, or has bouts of depression and anxiety. What I do is try to leave breadcrumbs so you can get out of that state. That's it. Try to act, try to plan, try to think about yourself, try to think about your position. There's no point to go to anything that is not vital now, or I don't know how to put this. I really hope that I'm getting across to you, and even it sounds too abstract or maybe nonsensical, it gets you rolling in some kind of direction, and sparks an idea that was maybe an idea that you left for too silly or too foolish or too, I don't know, outrageous, and that will never gonna work, and that will be impossible. And what I can tell you is that I once said that being a successful YouTuber and having a huge community was something that was really difficult. That will take me a decade to achieve that, and here I am. Okay, I had to work my ass off to do that, and I'm doing it as we speak. I'm not planning or stopping anytime soon, but it was a really absurd idea at the time. It was a really absurd idea for me at the time, and well, an absurd idea helped us meet today. So there's that. That's all that I'm going to do about myself. Okay? But I want you to, I'm not going to say success. Because success so many times sounds like an event, a single event. I think I want you to feel blissful every day, to be fulfilled every day, to be happy to get out of bed in the morning. And remember to make your bed too. Okay? That's my goal. That's what I'm trying to hear. That's why my rambling is for. That's why all the extra minutes is for. Because I don't know how can any of those ideas can help you in any way. And thanks to Harry with his orange dress attire, I don't know how to call it, that pointed out that tonight, and maybe that could help you in your journey, and I really hope so. My body language buddies, has been, as usual, a pleasure to share this space with you. It was a bit wacky today. Today was a lot of branching over thoughts, and I'm really glad to be able to share this. It's very hard for me to have a constant flow with so many ideas are collapsing in my head, and how to express the ones that could be as generic as possible so you can adapt them to your own situation. That's why today was a bit more difficult for me to organize these ideas, but in every live I'm getting a bit more adept at organize my train of thought, speaking it to you, and have this pauses to stop and think how we can share this journey together and make the best of this together. My body language buddies, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and it's my pleasure until we meet the next time on a new live or a recorded video, or in Twitter or on Instagram, or whatever you like, or by email too. Have a good night, take care, and remember, make sure to secure your love and bliss. Much love and bliss. Bye bye.